Hey, Coach Nate here from Fleet Feet. We are gonna get into a really great strength routine today for runners to really strengthen those glutes. We're gonna talk a little bit about what the glutes actually do, how they kind of stabilize your hips, how they add a little bit of power, and some of the positional things you need to pay attention to connect the strength training we're gonna do today with your run form so you can get those glutes firing where they actually count. So let's talk about what your glutes do specifically when you're running. They help us out in two key areas. The first area is stability. If my glutes aren't firing, my hips aren't stable. And if my hips aren't stable, every time I take a step, my hips are gonna collapse a little bit, my knee's gonna start to cave in, my foot and my ankle is gonna start to cave in as well. And I'm just opening up myself to any lower leg overuse injury that runners are gonna experience. So just by learning how to stabilize my hips with every footfall, hip, knee, and ankle is much more aligned. I'm much more efficient as a runner, and I am going to be able to train efficiently and consistently without injury. The other key thing is going to be power output, because my hips, what they do is they extend. They are extensors, and extension in the hip is so key not only for opening up my stride to go faster, right? As I start to run, I can only kind of increase my cadence so much, and then my stride's gonna have to open up behind me. The other thing they're gonna help me do is kind of power up those hills powerfully. Now, I've been a strength coach for years, I've been a running coach for years, and I want to show you some tricks up my sleeve, some of my favorite glute strengthening and activation exercises that when you kind of put all these things together, it makes a big difference. We're gonna go through an arch body hold. We're gonna go through a short lever side plank, and then we're gonna finish things off with some split squats. So just to get started with this arch body hold, I'm gonna start face down on the ground, but I wanna be very specific with my cueing. When I'm doing this the right way, what I wanna first think about is squeezing my butt, pushing my hips hard into the ground, slowly pulling these legs off and slowly pulling these arms off. What I'm actually trying to do is simulate this extended position that we get into in our stride, right? The whole body has this degree of global extension, and I need to be able to train this without being overextended through the low back. I'll get into this more later, but if my back and spine is not stable, I actually can't engage my glutes at all. So this is really a core exercise. I'm not just gonna pull my arms and legs up off the ground. I'm gonna think about squeezing my abs nice and tight, squeezing my butt, pressing those hips hard on the ground, pulling those legs off a little bit, and then just pulling those arms off a little bit. And I can go ahead and hold this anywhere of 30 seconds up to a minute, being really, really tight. Another key tip with this one, your shoulders are gonna be stiff. Your elbows are gonna wanna flare out and go here. This is really comfortable. I want you to go thumbs straight up to the ceiling, lift those up as much as you can, and try to hold that. So challenging. Next thing we're going to hit are some short lever side planks. To refresh your memory a little bit, a side plank, I'm either gonna go for my elbow or my hand with legs fully extended up here on the side. And basically I have to really activate kind of like this hip to hold myself up, otherwise I'm starting to fall down here. So it's a lot of obliques, it's some glutes, it's some quad, it's a nice thing. When I go short lever and I bring my feet here and I go from the knees, really what I'm just emphasizing is the glute and the oblique component, and I'm sort of taking those other stabilizers and bigger picture muscles out of the equation to our benefit, because we're just more specifically targeting those glutes for that lateral stability. I can go here, I can lift a leg up and try to hold myself this way. One of the things I've been playing around with a lot lately has been doing short lever planks with a band around my knees. So I'm gonna go ahead, put these around here. And basically what this band does is it adds a little resistance when I open my knees up, which is basically to activate the hips through a little bit of external rotation. So I'm gonna drive my hips forward, pull this knee up, and just by going here, my glutes are just really firing like crazy. So not only this guy down here, but this guy on top is really working really hard. I have found that even doing this for 15 to 30 seconds is a challenge at first, so start there, and if you want to build up a little bit longer, you can. But notice if the knee starts to drop or your hips start to sink back, really push those hips forward, really drive that knee up. That's a key thing. Shift over to the other side. Again, some beautiful short lever action. Hips forward, driving that knee up, holding for 15, 30 seconds. Such a great thing to do on your strength days. So we've got our first 2 exercises, saving the third one for last, one of my favorites. All right, let's talk exercise number 3, which is going to be our Bulgarian split squats. There's some things about the positioning with the split squat specifically that really gets your glutes firing, even more so than say squats or lunges. A lot of times if I'm just doing a lunge, either if I'm stepping forward like this, or I'm just squatting, we tend to be very quad dominant as people. And what that means is that we tend to be very good at firing our quads here, initiating with the knees. We're not as good as activating this way. And what helps with the Bulgarian split squat is it gets us back and hinging a little bit more at the hip, which really helps to load these up. Elevate this leg back here and hold it. It's already pulling me back. And as I start to squat down this way, notice that I'm sitting back here. These guys are really firing. I'm not really able to go too far forward in the knee. And if you are doing this, no good, no bueno. I wanna make sure that this shin stays nice and vertical, sitting back nice and deep, going through here. Put your toe down this way, or you can extend it out straight. I prefer this way because it allows me to get a little bit deeper, and then I can get into that range. And if you want, you could even add a kettlebell, holding it suitcase style on the side, like this. If you wanted a little bit more of a core challenge, you could even hold this up here, goblet squat up in front. Other key things with this, making sure that the rib cage is down, spine's nice and straight, I'm not arched and extended. As I mentioned, I'm not letting my knee go forward excessively. I'm really trying to think about sitting back and down so that front shin stays nice and vertical. So let's put a little workout together, right? Let's make a little routine here. So you're gonna go through these 3 exercises. My recommendation is 3 to 5 sets of these 3 things. You're gonna start with your arch body hold, Superman hold, for 30 seconds, upwards of 60 seconds. Remember, squeezing that butt, pressing those hips hard on the ground, peeling those arms and legs off. If I'm doing this right, no low back pain, just very, very strong and active through here. I'm then gonna move to my short lever planks. 15 to 30 seconds if you have that band around your legs, around your knees. 30 to 60 seconds if you're going for a little bit longer. Shake it out a little bit in between, go ahead and do the other side. And then finally, you're gonna go ahead and find your box or your bench. You're gonna get this leg elevated for 5 to 8 reps of those split squats per side. Weight is optional, start body weight, but if you feel good and you're in a position to do so, grab some dumbbells or some kettlebells. Try this workout twice a week. If you're strength training as a runner, you're really gonna see those glutes not only activate and get strong, and start thinking about that in your running form, making sure those hips are pressed forward, strong and stable here. We've got other great run form videos on our channel. Go check those out. Strong glutes, runners. I'll see you in the next video.